Welcome back to another episode of Live Dogs, the show where we target the best underdog plays of the day, and hopefully help make you guys a little bit of extra money. As always, start with the recap of yesterday. Pretty decent day. We went 3-2 overall. We hit on the Cardinals, Padres, and White Sox while losing on the Nationals and Rockets. I gave out the Rockets alternative spread. Obviously, they lost the game straight up. So that was a tough one. The Nationals, really just Fetty let up 6 runs in the start. Always going to be tough to come back from that. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then we hit on the Cardinals and Padres, both relatively easily. And then the last pick, the White Sox to cover 2 runs, plus 155. It wasn't looking good for a while. The White Sox fought back and eventually hit a 3-run homer in the 9th to win that game. So yeah, that was a good hit, and made a little bit of money. And so we'll just get straight into it today. I know I just said the Nationals were one of the losses yesterday, but I'm rolling with them again, this time at a better number at plus 135 versus the Phillies. It's 2 good pitchers on the mound, Patrick Corbin and Aaron Nola. You can see their numbers. Corbin's 3.8 ERA and 1.3 whip, while Nola has a 3 even ERA with a sub-1 whip. So maybe a very slight advantage for Nola, but we know both of these guys. They're both pretty much one of the best in the game. And so I don't give much of an advantage in pitching either way, although if I had to, I would say it does lean the Phillies' direction. But I'm going with them again for pretty much the same reasons as yesterday. I went pretty in depth on the Phillies' struggles in the bullpen, and that is the same bullpen that allowed 4 runs in the last 3 innings to actually give the Nationals a shot to win the game late. I think they're gonna continue to struggle, but definitely one thing to look at here is this pitching matchup was actually the exact same 5 days ago, where both pitchers threw, I believe, 6 or 7 innings and both allowed 2 runs. Nola might have got an extra inning, but definitely the recency of seeing these guys for each team will give the batters a little bit better of an advantage. And considering that the Nationals are hitting the ball better overall, I still give it in their directions. But definitely the recency of seeing their stuff should make for a little bit of a higher scoring game, if you ask me. But once it gets to the bullpen, maybe Nola's pitch count gets a little high. I definitely like the Nationals to score some runs late in the game and maybe take one here from the Phillies. So I'm not going to go into all the bullpen stats. You can watch the show yesterday. It was one of the first picks on the show, so you don't have to go too deep into it. But yeah, for pretty much the same reasons as yesterday, even though it lost, I'm going with the Nationals. And we'll move on to another one. Even before I get into this, I will say there are some pretty decent-sized dogs on the card today. That's mainly because I didn't really like the card too much, to be honest. I grabbed the best ones out there, in my opinion. But yeah, so here's the Pirates at plus 145 versus the Cubs. You got Jed Cool on the mound for the Pirates, who's 1-1 with a 2.5 ERA and 1.08 whip. Versus the struggling John Lester, as you can see, 4.5 ERA and 1.2 whip. So the whip's good. The ERA just hasn't been there. So yeah, obviously you can see by the numbers, Lester has not had his best stuff this season. He's struggling a little bit, and that's another reason why I like this, considering the Pirates are hitting lefties very well as it is. I got the splits up, hitting 276 compared to an even 200 versus lefties. Basically a 350 on base percentage compared to a 250, and also a pretty sizable gap in slugging percentage as well. So you're going to give me a struggling left-handed pitcher versus a team that's been hitting lefties well, especially at the price of plus 145. I'm definitely going to take that. And it's not only the fact that they're hitting 276 against lefties. The righties in the lineup this season are hitting 314 against lefties. So I haven't seen the lineup come out. I don't know if it's stacked with the righties or not. I would assume probably at least 5 or 6 of them. And so, I mean, I really like the trends pointing in the Pirates' direction, and I don't think it should be plus 145 for sure. So I'm going to take advantage of that and fade John Lester. Last pick in the MLB slate will be the Tigers at plus 160 versus the Brewers. The pitching matchup, I'm not even going to go too deep into this one. Both pitchers have been pretty bad this year. We're looking at almost a 9 ERA and a 6.3 ERA. But one thing I will say is that Fulmer has a relatively small sample size. He's only thrown 14 innings, so the numbers are a little bit inflated just from a couple of bad innings. Meanwhile, Lindblom's up towards 30 innings pitched, I believe, and his numbers are still there. So I'm kind of just taking this as maybe the number is a little inflated because of Fulmer's numbers this year, but like I said, in a limited sample. But there's also some other things here that point in the Tigers' direction. In the last 2 weeks, the Brewers do rank last in batting average with barely hitting 200. And in that same span, the Tigers are 5th with a 280 batting average. And then once Lindblom's out of the game, which he hasn't even gone into a 6th inning yet this year, we'll get to a pretty bad Brewers bullpen. The bullpen ranks 26th in ERA in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, so I mean, this is just I honestly don't know why the number's this high. I guess they're planning for another bad Michael Fulmer start. But I don't see this guy getting lit up for 6 runs against this bad of a recently hitting team. So this is just pretty much me taking a plus 160 shot at a team playing the worst hitting team in the majors in the last 2 weeks. So we're going to take a flyer on that one. So, I mean, like I said, I'm going for some pretty decent-sized dogs. We got plus 135, plus 145, and now here at plus 160. So we hit 1 or 2 of those. Could be a good day. But that's it for baseball as we move into the 2-game NBA slate today. Taking a pick off of the Celtics, even though I did hit that in the first game at plus 110 dogs. I'm going to the Nuggets. One thing I do definitely want to say is I've seen this line everywhere. I've seen Nuggets -1, +1, +1.5. So depending on what your book says, you might just want to take them straight up as a dog. But if they are a favorite, which I believe DraftKings was when I checked this out, the Nuggets were 1-point favorites. So I got to get that plus value, obviously, for the show. So I'm selling 1 point and taking the Nuggets at -2 for a plus 105 total versus the Jazz, obviously. And this is pretty much just me rolling with the hot hand here. Jamal Murray got his numbers up. He's averaging 44 points, 7 assists, 8 boards on 64% shooting over the last 3 games, and only has a combined 5 turnovers. So he is probably one of, if not the best player in the league right now. Obviously, I'm sure most people have seen the stat that Jamal is one of 4 players in NBA history with multiple 50-point games in a single playoff series. Ironically enough, Donovan Mitchell's also one of them in the same series. So in an historic series, regardless of what happens, but now we're in Game 7, and yeah, I'm going to roll with the Nuggets, not only because of Jamal Murray, but when you go top to bottom of these rosters, I think there's an advantage for the Nuggets in pretty much every spot. Obviously, right now, Jamal's playing better than Donovan Mitchell is, even though Mitchell's playing great, don't get me wrong. But also, Jokic is the number 2 option. I think he's playing better than you would probably call Mike Conley, the number 2 option on the Jazz. So you get an advantage in the 1 and 2 spots. And after that, you get into Joe Ingles and Rudy Gobert, compared to like Michael Porter Jr., Gary Harris, Jeremy Grant, Millsap. I just think top to bottom, the Nuggets are a better team. They were favorite when the season or when the series started. After falling down 3-1, obviously they become underdogs. But yeah, I mean, I do think they really are the better team, and obviously they've been playing like it in the last couple of games. So I'm gonna roll with the Nuggets there. But definitely look at your prices, shop around if you can, because don't sell the points if you don't really have to. As obviously it's Game 7, this should be a pretty good game. But we're going into just one single lean today. I was talking about the other big dogs that I'm taking, but one lean here is the Rangers at plus 235 versus the Astros. This is a BetQL pick. They're showing that there is some value on the Rangers here. I can't go too deep into it, but if you want to check it out, I know I say it every day, seems like, but definitely sign up for the BetQL subscription. When you log up, you can use my code Mazone. It's in the description. But you get 20% off of your subscription, whether it's for a week, a month, whatever it is, and you can see all the reasons why they see some value on the Rangers here. But that's it for today. 4 picks and a lean. And I'll just run it back real quick. The Nats, doubling down on them at plus 135. The Pirates, plus 145 versus the Cubs. The Tigers at plus 160, which I think there's some definitely value on all these picks, but maybe especially here. And the Nuggets, alternative spread, regular spread, whatever, money line, whatever your book says, but at around plus 105. And then obviously that lean with the Rangers at plus 235. So some big dogs here. If we were able to hit 2 of them, it'll definitely be a money-making day. Yeah, we're hoping for a good day to continue on the decent day yesterday. And thank you guys for tuning in. I will be back tomorrow, again, at 11 a.m. with some more underdog picks. So, yeah, thank you guys for coming, as always, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.